Hello there, people. Look, this is Linda Stacy of Living Blueprints, and tonight I am doing session 0B, and this is all about the brain dump and what we can do to get ourselves ready to begin to apply the tips that are inside of Optimized You over the course of the next several weeks. So again, this is all very tactical, but if we don't really know what we want to change or bring into our life or tweak or just make things easier on a day-to-day basis, it can be really difficult. We kind of need to have a bigger goal or just something in mind that we want to begin to change. So yesterday I talked all about drains and the way, what those are and how they might manifest, and today was definitely a good drain day for me. There was a couple of presentations that were delivered and just a lot of kind of work that makes my brain hurt, and then a delayed train. But now here we are, right? And so it's good. It was a good use of my energy, but I'm still very, very tired. But tonight I thought we'd talk about the brain dump. Some of you probably do some form of this where you kind of get everything out of your head. And this is another way to look at how we might manage it all a little bit better if we can kind of get it all out on a paper and begin to tackle some of it. So, there are a lot of benefits to the brain dump. Again, getting it out of our head when you're trying to have all that stuff go in there and keep it organized only in our heads. It's very, very taxing, and it uses some of our key energy. You only have so much fuel. Why use it, needlessly if you can use a piece of paper and a pen to kind of keep you organized. We'll talk about some more of the benefits as I go through here. And I'll talk about the how-tos as well. I mean, there's no real science to this. You get a piece of paper, a notebook, something. I like using different colored pens, but, whatever works for you, and you start writing things down. I write down everything that's pending, everything that I have to think about for the next week, all the things that are kind of sitting there in my way, things that haven't been addressed for a long time. So anything that's pending or that kind of is coming up in the near future is a good thing to write down, and it doesn't have to be in any order. And I recommend, later tonight or tomorrow that you do this and set a timer. I mean, literally just allow yourself to do it for 7 minutes or something like that. It won't go on and on forever. Although I do know some people for whom things keep bubbling up. A lot of people have a lot of things on their plate and they love to engage in lots of activities and take things on. So, but anyway, spend some time with that, writing things down, but setting a limit on the time frame can be a good idea. Another part that can be a good idea is looking back, whether you look back just at yesterday or the last 3 days and just kind of analyze where your time really did go. I didn't anticipate today, and so I was totally not prepared. Just getting a sense for where you actually do spend time. Sometimes that's kind of interesting for people to notice, where it's kind of time is seeping away in ways that maybe it doesn't need to. So part one is just kind of writing everything down that's pending that you have to do. But another part is to look back at the last day, the last 2 days, last 3 days, and just look at how it went and, what was actually on your schedule and what actually happened. That can be an interesting thing to just kind of get on paper as well. Let's see, what else did I want to say here? As I said before, getting stuff on paper makes us use less energy as a result. Sometimes we even find chunks of time as we begin to apply some of these practices that we didn't think we had before. I've gotten much better at emptying half the dishwasher while the coffee's brewing or something. I never was good like that, but why not get it out of the way while I'm just standing there doing nothing anyway? So sometimes just by beginning to write these things down, you find chunks of time that you weren't expecting. Another thing that the brain dump can be really good to do in the middle of your day. If it's late afternoon, I tend to get overwhelmed and lose track of where I am with things. Just getting things out of my head in terms of what I've done and if there's a lot, what else has to happen today, so I can kind of break the madness of what my brain is doing in the moment. It's also a really good idea to do before you go to bed. A lot of people who suffer from, who don't sleep well, getting some of that stuff on paper can help. I mean, clearly it's not the solution to not being able to sleep, but kind of go to bed, dump your head type of thing is a good idea. Once everything is on paper, you might begin to see that there are some essential things that you have to do that are super, super important, and then there are some less essential things, and you can just kind of begin to categorize them. We're going to talk about them over the course of the 9 weeks. Some things are very project related, whether it's a home related project or work related project that's kind of going to go on for a while. Some of the essential things are like physiological things you have to do, things you might not even put on your list, but do have to happen. We have to groom ourselves, we have to sleep, we have to, deal with meals and getting ourselves and our loved ones fed. Those are all things to consider. And there's a lot of stuff that ends up on people's list that's just clutter, stuff that just doesn't get processed because life gets in the way. And so just writing it down can be a good idea, whether or not you need to address it right away. But it's nice too to just begin to categorize the stuff that you've laid out. So with the physiological, you're looking at sleep, grooming, food, movement potentially, with your projects at home. And at work, you can begin to flesh those out a little bit. Just write down the project name, and then clutter, dealing with piles in the office desk or whatever that hot spot is in the house that tends to accumulate the clutter, just putting on a list like, I need to spend 10 minutes on that or whatever. What else? So I highly recommend just doing a brain dump to get out all the stuff that you're responsible for, and you might begin to see things are less important as we go through this. So I hope that gives a little bit of a sense of how you might approach a brain dump. It can be beneficial. And again, right now, this is kind of like a 0 stage. We're going to apply the tips to some of the stuff that we've gotten ready. So again, if you want to go back and look at yesterday's video, it's all about drain. So if there's something that you really want to reverse that's causing quite a drain in your life, you might watch that video to choose that thing to work on over the course of the 9 weeks. I'm also posting all of these to YouTube, and if you do watch anything on YouTube, I would love it if you would subscribe. People who subscribe there, as subscribers grow, that means that other people can find the similar content, which is super cool. So tomorrow we're going to start with the first of the tips in Optimized View at 7:30 here. And I hope to see you, and I hope everyone is having a really great week. And cheers. I've got a drink right here. All right, cheers. Have a good one.